Yeah. So, yeah, Tim, can you please tell me what was the last class, or if any recording was done and sent to you? I think I remember as the exception handling. Is there any other last class? Please let me know. Yeah, I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. Okay, guys, so hold on. Let me open the tool. And you have three things. One is exception handling collections. Okay. And we have done with this string buffer and string builder. Okay, we have the very lengthy topics or very important, lengthy and important are the collections. Okay, collections, let's see where is the, okay, okay, what I'll do is I'll take two things. One is exception handling. Okay, and practically the exception, let's see what are the things added in the package for the exception handling. Yeah, so we have this one and we also have the collections. Let me go through some of the exception handling things again. Okay, so you have seen what's a hello world program in the starting of the class. Today we have the concept of exception handling. Okay,
Sir, have you started screen sharing?
yeah, hold on, sorry. What is this? Yeah, so screen share. Yeah, I'm doing it now. Okay,
Okay.
once I share the screen, some this thing as it comes in the top. Fine. Okay, so what's an exception handling? If I give you an overview, it is the code that is getting executed and it is interacting with the user, right? Or very simple example, if you have in a server, if there is any code that is getting executed, and the purpose of this code, your Java code, is to connect to another server which may be in a different region, location, or continent from India to US, and it is actually reading any file which is present in D drive F1 as the folder, and here you have some XYZ txt. Okay, XYZ txt. Now this code, which is actually a bigger project, and just taking an example here, this particular project is took nearly 6 months to actually develop. Okay, so all the developers during the development phase, they will be using GitHub repository. Okay, they will push it, they will create their own branch and push it to the GitHub repository. From this repository you will, I'm explaining here that currently I am explaining about how this particular project was developed and how it is getting executed in a server. Okay, this server will have its own operating system, its own hard disk, antivirus, and then it will be application layer, it will be executing the code. Okay, now think that we have the students as Shivani, Anu, Kedar, and yeah. So here everybody has developed their own part, pushed it to the repository. Okay. So guys, have you done hands-on with Git, and sessions are completed with Git, right? You are pushing the PRs as your homeworks. Can I get a
Yes, sir.
confirmation? Yeah, team. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
So we are done with the session of Git and Git lab, right? Where you create a branch and push the code.
Uh,
Can I get a confirmation? Have a, like, you have attended it, or maybe yes, for this batch it is completed. If you have not attended it, you can see in my channel some of the examples. I've done it for this batch only, recording, and then pushed it to my channel. Okay, so as a developer you will push your code to the branch. From the branch it will be pushed to the repository. Okay, in the repository there would be a build. After this there would be a build server, maybe called as a Travis or Jenkins. Okay, this build server will check if the code is good, the naming conventions are good, all, and then it will push it to the development server. This is also a server, and this is also a development server. Then in the development server, the tester will log in and they'll test the code, whatever. If just take in simple example, if that code is adding two numbers, he'll be sending two numbers, two negative numbers, 1 0. He will be testing from all the angles if the code is working fine. Or if it is a web application, somebody is making the contact us page, somebody is making the home page, somebody is making the gallery page, the front end, back end, and everything, and they are pushing it to the repository. From this repository, it is tested in the Jenkins build server. After this build, it comes to a development server. Here, the tester will test it and he'll say, "Oh, guys, in the home page there is some button that is not functioning." So then that particular issue or the bug will be given to a new developer, to the same developer who has worked, or to a new developer. So there will be a list of bugs. You understand what is a bug? Yeah, guys, you need to be interactive. I know you didn't have your dinner, but still. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So these bugs will be raised and then assigned to developers to fix it. Then if there is no bug, there is no issue, and everything is going fine, then after the development server, it will be pushed to a new server called as a regression, where different type of testing happens. Then maybe it's SAT server or SAT2. Then it will be pushed to the production server. What is the meaning of a production server? Is that it is working live. Okay, if it is a web application, clients are using their browser, hitting it to the web application and testing it and running. It is like if you're using any application. Currently we are using Zoom, right? This Zoom is actually working in the production server, so we are able to use it. The Zoom also, if they are adding any feature, they will, every developer will be assigned to that project of that feature, thinking that a new AI kind of thing in Zoom project. So they will be pushing the code to the repository. From there, this will go to the whole cycle. Okay, I'm explaining the whole project process, and you should relate it to the concept of exception and exception handling at any language. As a Java, we'll be taking some of the examples here also. Now, the client might do any exceptional cases also. There could be some. Okay, I'll take an example here. Your Java code, you have written, you have developed a code that will actually connect to another server, go to the D drive folder and read this file and display it on the screen. Just the number of words that are there in this text file. Okay, just the number of words. Okay, so say today it is displaying 78, and tomorrow whatever the number of words are there in this. So your project is working good. It nearly 6 months it worked good. By mistake, some of the administrator deleted this file and they didn't keep any file. What would happen? Yeah, guys, you need to be interactive. What would happen if it couldn't find the file? No
I
idea?
think it was previous one.
Yeah, so this is an exception, right? There can be an exception. So in general English, if we see what is the meaning of an exception, is that a rare case, okay, a not a normal happy path. You're going on a highway to some holy place. Basically, we just an example I'm taking, and the exceptional cases like tire has punctured. You don't expect it, but it happened. And to make it a smooth ride, again you change the tire, right? And what is the other exceptional cases in technical example? If I give, you are your project is is just in. Somebody is using this project. It's adding dividing two numbers. The first number they gave 12, the second number they gave 6. What should be the result?
18.
It is 12 divided by 6. 6 ones are 6 twos are. You need to concentrate. Okay, so 3 ones are 3 2. Yeah, so here this is dividing the value of 1 integer a integer b, c is equals to a by b. By mistake, not mistake, uh, exceptionally the user gave 0 as the value. What is anything divided by 0 in mathematics? It goes to infinity, right? But what should the computer give? Infinity is a number. Shall it be printing 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 continuously? No, right? It will print some error. Now you're using Java, or you might be using any language. That language has to provide you some information that user gave a wrong as an divided by. Or in a very simple way, very simple example, you did the whole project. Every developer pushed the code. The project is some supermarket application. You visit the supermarket like Reliance or Urban Supermarket. Physically you visit, you buy some products monthly or any time, and then you go to the counter. You see a computer which scans and takes all the product, gives the total, and you might pay it in any format, maybe cash or with Paytm or UPI. Okay, now this application, this software is being developed in any company, and you are hired as a developer. Okay, you are hired as a developer for that company. You started coding that particular application which will help in billing. Okay, when the customer is in the front, it's a billing application. Okay, now in this what had happened is suddenly user got an error. Who's a user? It's an employee of the supermarket. He got an error stating that some arithmetic exception or class not found as exception, which is Java related things. Will he be able to fix it? Of course not. He won't. He or she won't be able to fix it because they are non-technical guys, and maybe they know computers to operate it, to switch on, switch off, or dismantle. Okay, so this particular software should be able to give an answer what went wrong with the software. You need to design that software that somebody gives a wrong value. Okay, somebody gives a wrong value, it should give a pop-up to the user. So your project should have been tested. Your architects, senior managers shall be able to give those ideas to the developers, make that exceptional cases. Even if there is any exception going on with the project, it should have a smooth execution of the code. Okay, you have a code which divides, right? If suddenly somebody gives a value of 0, it should actually print that please do not give the b value as 0. Which is better, giving arithmetic exception as the pop-up is better, or a user defined user friendly message is better? Which one would you prefer?
User defined.
User defined, exactly. User defined. Now, at one level, sometimes what happens is that it is just not an add or subtract kind of things, but there are many cases like the Java itself says there is no file not found as an exception. Okay, so currently let's see one of the thing that is sample. Okay, I have a sample. Okay, you can see that there is on my desktop. Okay, there is a file called gg.txt. Is there any gg? Let me check. Okay, I'll create a file, and I'll name it as anu anu and amd. Who's the participant? Shivan. Such a VM. Okay, and let me copy most of the things. Sorry. Okay, so what does this file, what is the program doing? That it is taking file object. Okay, it is reading the file, it is checking if the file exists or not, and then it is printing the number of characters in the given. Okay, now how will I be able to, let's take this properties till the desktop, and then you have the name.txt. Yeah, so till properties desktop name.txt. Okay, let's run this program, and this program gives the number of words that are there in this file. So number of characters in this file are 61, right? Let's add some more and see if it is going good. Okay. Yeah, I saved it, recompiled it, rerun. Now 61. Okay, I didn't save it. Fine. Okay, we'll do one thing. We'll remove everything. We'll keep only some words. So now the answer should be different. Okay, I saved it, recompiled it. It is reading. Yeah, number of characters is given file 1. Let's see why it is given 1. There are different characters, but that's not the aim of this. So this code, okay, is working fine now. Is it working fine? Can you confirm? Now what if I delete? What if I delete? I deleted this file. There is no file with such name. What should be the output? It ran good. First time it executed good. Now I'm recompiling it. Did I recompile? Did I save? Delete. A isn't there. Okay. And here, let's take, there is some other folder called desktop 2, and I'm recompiling it. Oh, strange. There is no desktop 2 also. Okay, let me take another program. Not with respect to file, but yeah. Let's with respect to this example. That's strange. There is no file of this type, and it is still count. Okay. Count is 0. It is saying, because we are using an integer, and if anything is going wrong, it is not even saying that the file isn't there. Okay, without any try catch block, which I'll explain you in the next step. So the code was running good because count is 0, and it didn't even read the file, and it didn't even update the count, but still the code is running good. If I keep this line here, okay, now it won't function, I think. Yeah, so here it didn't give any value like file has not been found, no file found as an exception kind of thing. Okay, we need to write down the code saying that now if this is run, this is executed by a non-technical guy, okay, who is just an user of your software or your project, there is no output. What he will do? There is no output, right? So what he will do? You need to write down that if the file exists, else, let's say file, check the file present in specified place. Just a simple, and now you will get the, yeah, there is no file, and the code has something that says check the file is if it is present in the specified place or not. Okay, now you have another example where you are taking c is a and b value, and c is equals to a plus b. Okay, now let's take b value as 10, compile it, you'll get result 3. 30 divided by 10, yes, it is good. Now what will happen with the catch as an we have something called as a try block. Try means your actual code which can generate any exception. What is the exception that this code can generate? Any idea? If you're taking from the user A and B value, currently it is hard coded. If I'm taking from the user, sometimes user can give 30 and sometimes he can give 10 or 0. So C is equals to A divided by B. B, if the value is 0, then you'll get an exception here. When you get an exception, your catch will be executed. Let's take the value as 0. Okay, so whatever I'm writing is getting printed. Can't divide the number by 0. If I'm not writing this, let's see what Java is giving us the hint. Nothing. Okay, so we are writing our own code stating what should be printed if someone gives the value as 0. Actually, we should get arithmetic exception kind of thing. I need to check why. Okay, then you have another example of this is try and catch block. If something exception happens, then catch will be executed. Let's see array index out of bond exception. You know what's an array? You have 4 numeric arrays in here. Okay, and you're trying to access something which is not there in the array. Currently, I'm trying to access what I'm trying to access 2. 2 is there because there we have total 4. So let's yeah, it is printing nothing. I'm trying to print something. Okay, I value I value is, so it will say plus I. Guys, you are understanding anything out of topic that or anything that you're not understanding? So I value is 0 because I have not stored anything in array of 2. By default, integer goes to 0. So you have 4 boxes. Think that array means there are like boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4. In this, by default, if you have stored nothing, it will be 0. Okay, so default of int is 0. The default of byte, short, int, long is 0. Double and other things are 0.0. Okay, string is null. Now you're trying to access 2 and I value is this one. So currently, to give you an example, I stored 90 here. Let's see what is the output. Okay, this is array ARR. Okay, so I value is 90. Yes, it works good. Now I'm trying to, I didn't give array value anything. So by default, Java is assigning all the values as 0. So your code went well. Now I'm trying to access something as 20. We have only 4 arrays, but I'm trying to access something which is not present. What you will get it? Java is telling you array index out of bond exception. Okay, our code does not have try and catch block. So what we can do is the next level inculcate exception kind of things is that you can keep all these things in try block. This is called as a try block. This can generate any exception, right? And here catch saying exception E and E dot, or you can write system dot out. Let's copy this. Okay, what are the other things that can happen? I'm using the code only for the array, so do not access array above 4. I wrote this. Okay, now see, I'm trying to access 20. What it will print? Do not access array above 4. Why? You're trying to access here. So this won't be executed. The next lines won't be executed. Directly it will jump to catch and then it will execute whatever you have written as system.out. You have another block called as a finally. Okay, what is finally? Any idea, guys? I am finally block. and I will be executed for sure. Okay, so do not access because this raised an exception. So though no execution of these lines, and then this will be executed. Finally, will be executed for sure. Okay, even if you are trying to act, if your code is going good and catch is not executed, catch will only be executed if there is any exception raised. Okay, so you're trying to execute something, your flow of project is going good, then also finally will be executed. Let's see, this is a happy case. Yes, value of I is 0. I want I want to execute. Yeah, so I want to execute. There is no more lines, but catch is not executed. Why catch is not executed? Yeah, guys, because there is no exception raised, so catch is not executed. Finally will surely be executed. So this block, even if this is executed good, the project is going good, finally will be executed. Even if there is some exception raised and catch is executed, then finally will surely be executed. That is about the finally. Okay, inside the try also you can have more try and catch blocks. Okay, more try and catch blocks in this way. Okay, so that is try and catch. Okay, if there is any try, you should you need to surely have a catch block, else you get a compiler error. Okay, very simple. Let's check what are the things you can have. Yeah, try is there, there is no catch, everything is running fine. You're trying to execute this. Yes, so you can have a try block. You do not have a try block. Okay, think that you do not have a try back, you have a catch block. No, this is a currently the compiler itself says that you cannot have only a catch block or a finally. You should have a try block. Okay, so I'm trying to have try and catch, but no finally. Yes, code works good. You can have try and catch. There is only try. Okay, what? Java try without catch, finally or resume. So, yeah, here let's see. There is no catch, only try. There is no catch and finally. Let's keep finally. We'll do one thing. Control Z. Okay, we'll remove catch. So what is the learning here? You can have in a code try block and finally as a combination. No single catch block can exist. Try shall always be there. Okay. So you have more examples in the package called exception package, which is in the repository. You have next topic. Shivani, you will be giving a PPT for throw and throws. Okay. The next topic you will be giving a PPT.
Certainly, sir.
Yeah, please note it down, and you can see null pointer exception, my exceptions, other things as an example here. If you have any doubts, you can connect with me. We will be clearing it. Go through all this code, and I'll be stopping the recording now because that's not required. Yeah, where is the recording?